waiting for the devil to take my soul. He was all I wanted, now I'm alone. Waiting for the devil to take my soul. He was all I wanted, now I'm alone. Waiting for the devil to take my soul.
Hey everybody, welcome to Apocalypse Rising. Thanks for tuning in. I don't know about you, but I feel like people are going to start starving here pretty quickly. But instead of just focusing on the negative, at least there's been some really good advancements in fusion. And I think we're going to talk about that a little bit. I've been reading a lot of articles. All different kinds of fusion technologies are making advancements. So we can look into that and see if there's a time frame in terms of that being a viable energy source. But in the meantime, I found this article here on my phone. Of course, this one here is sciencealert.com. And I just saw the title and kind of barely started reading it. And I like articles like this because it says scientists just identified another mysterious surge in the atmosphere due to humans. Well, first of all, I mean, this could be debated possibly. And mysterious is really what intrigues me, because when it comes to science, when you see things like anomaly and mystery and this types of stuff, usually it means that it wasn't accounted for. Breakfast! So if they'd ever done a modeling system where they, inputted variables, this mysterious surge was not included. So let's see what this mysterious surge is or is not, or if we even know. Levels of molecular hydrogen in the atmosphere have surged in modern times due to human activity, according to new research. So apparently, if we just trust this article, it's saying that some kind of new research is pointing towards human activity as the reason why this molecular hydrogen is surging in the atmosphere. Even as recent air pollution laws have sought to curb fossil fuel emissions, hydrogen emissions have continued to rise with no signs of slowing down. There's a chance that leakage is to blame. Okay, there's just a chance. It doesn't say that's it for sure, so let's hold on here. Molecular hydrogen is a natural component of our atmosphere due to the breakdown of formaldehyde. Well, that's not great stuff. But it is also a byproduct of fossil fuel combustion, especially from automobile exhaust and biomass burning. What is this biomass burning? For some reason, when I'm reading this and I'm seeing that it's a mysterious surge and I think about everything that's going on, I wonder if this biomass burning is all the forests. I wonder if that's what's putting all this stuff into the atmosphere now. This molecular hydrogen is coming from biomass burning, the forests. While hydrogen doesn't trap heat in the atmosphere on its own, it can indirectly impact the distribution of methane and ozone. After carbon dioxide, these are the two most important greenhouse gases, which means global hydrogen levels can also perturb the climate. So it indirectly impacts the distribution of methane and ozone. Well, methane, that's surging at the moment because that's coming out all the ice and the permafrost. And now you've got this molecular hydrogen that somehow impacts the distribution of methane. Nevertheless, the sources and sinks of atmospheric hydrogen are rarely studied. We don't even have a good estimate of how much humans have emitted since industrial times. Well, how about some studies about how much the planet has emitted on its own and where does it typically come from? I mean, if you combine this with the melting ice and the melting permafrost, and if it is coming from mostly burning forest fires, what else, what else is going in the atmosphere? Carbon dioxide and everything else. This is just another thing that's coming from the natural positive feedback loop that we're in at this point. The current study is the first to offer up a solid figure. Okay, so basically they just did a bunch of studies here, whatever. Aging air is trapped in the perennial snowpack above the ice sheet, and that's how they get their samples. And they use paleoatmospheric reconstruction, and it's greatly enhanced our understanding of anthropogenic emissions. So even if this molecular hydrogen isn't coming directly from humans, which it sounds like potentially there is a great deal of it that is, in a roundabout way, if it is coming from forest fires, the forests are burning mostly because of what we've done to the climate. So in the end, it is human caused. But in a roundabout way, there's potential that it's not just coming from our cars burning fossil fuels and leakage. It could also be from all the forests that are burning. The news isn't exactly good. Well, you think? As it turns out, we may have been significantly underestimating our hydrogen emissions.
21.
Okay, so what does that mean? Some tailpipe emissions have been mitigated in recent years with the use of catalytic converters. And ideally, we would have seen hydrogen emissions decrease or plateau. Well, it's going up. What's going on? I don't think it's the cars. I think it's the forests that are burning down.
Damn, Daniel.
Yet hydrogen levels have continued to rise in the atmosphere almost uninterrupted. What else has been happening almost uninterrupted? Oh, I don't know. Australia burning, the United States burning, Europe burning, Siberia's burning. I'm going to go with the fact that it's trees and stuff, biomass, getting burnt down in mass amounts. The Amazon, I mean, let's think about this, folks.
He needs some milk.
Even if fusion's right around the corner, are we too late here? Instead, there must be another rapidly increasing source that is offsetting our progress in the automobile industry, because that's where you're focused on. Oopsie. It's good, you need to, because before the positive feedback loop took off, it was automobiles and whatnot that were putting it up there in mass amounts. Now, the planet's doing it for us. This isn't the only data set to identify such a discrepancy. What about all the discrepancies in your models and stuff that are quickly becoming completely inaccurate?
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Prior research has also shown a consistent rise in hydrogen from 2000 to 2015. Well, I'm not here to look things up and do the research for you, but I'm assuming that forest fires have increased greatly since 2000 through 2015. In terms of human-caused emissions, hydrogen emissions are thought to mostly come from automobile exhaust, but hydrogen leakage from industrial processes is rarely considered. So here's another thing to just throw on top of it. A 10% leakage rate between 1985 and 2005 would account for roughly half the rise in recent hydrogen emissions. They can't be sure this is where the hydrogen is coming from. Hydrogen emissions from coal combustion are also seriously understudied, but the authors argue it's worth investigating more. Okay, so what is coal? Coal is a biomass. So is a freaking tree. This isn't a new worry. It's a concern scientists have been pointing out for years now. Okay, so I'm not a prophet, but if hydrogen one day leaks from industrialized hydrogen gas plants, experts are troubled it could increase the lifetime of methane. Oh, here we go. This is what I wanted to read. So basically what this does is it increases the lifetime of methane in our atmosphere. And you combine that with the melting ice caps and the permafrost and everything else that's happening right now. And now methane can stay in the atmosphere potentially for as long or longer than carbon dioxide and is 20 times more potent. You guys think we should be sucking a lot of this stuff out of the atmosphere with fusion like 10, 15 years ago? Although even with a small percentage of leaks, a global hydrogen economy would likely have far lower climate impacts than our existing fossil fuel-based energy systems. Well, okay. Yay, but how are you reversing what's happening now? Because the forests are burning. Scientists are now on the hunt to find the mysterious source of hydrogen we seem to be missing all along. This mysterious source of hydrogen coming from the burning forests. If at least some of it turns out to be leakage, the future of green hydrogen might have a problem in need of solving. Oh, we got a way bigger problem in need of solving than just whether or not we're going to be able to use green hydrogen. Get the fuck out of here. This is crazy. So I really like these kind of articles because obviously, you know, whatever, but it's mysterious. They can't say for sure. They're still investigating what's going on. And with science, you do your best estimate, and then you do tests, and you test your hypothesis, and you see if that's it. So right now, that's the process that it sounds like they're in here with this mysterious surge in molecular hydrogen, okay, which allows methane to stay in the atmosphere for longer. And we're having massive amounts of hydrogen coming out of ice and permafrost, and potentially the ocean, and also from agriculture. And on top of that, in my opinion, what's causing most of this is the burning forests, which are also putting out carbon dioxide and are also not a carbon sink any longer once they burn. So that's what I think we're up against here. Let's see if fusion and all this stuff is going to be soon enough. You know, I feel like we've just been frogs in a boiling pot here, kicking the can down the road, and now it's time to pay the piper, and we might not be ready to do that. So this could potentially end in a catastrophe.
Allahu Akbar!
In the next 10 years. But what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and look at fusion. So I'll find some of those articles that we're talking about fusion, the magnetic fusion. There's like a tokamak reactor. There's all kinds of stuff. The last one we talked about was a laser fusion idea. So all of the fusion is moving forward. Don't get too down on it after this article we just read. But it's definitely going to take one hell of a streak of luck here to come out of this one unscathed. So on that note, we'll talk to you next time.
Fucking right in the pussy.